Welcome to the Catholic Cafe, where Catholic truth is served fresh daily. We've made you a reservation in the luxurious corner booth, so come on in and see what's on the menu today. Now, here's your host, Deacon Jeff Drzymski.
Greetings and welcome to the Catholic Cafe. I'm Deacon Jeff, sitting in the luxurious corner booth of the Catholic Cafe, sitting here with Ziggy Rodriguez.
That's me.
And we also have Brother Dylan Perry, who is a De La Salle Christian brother, and he is in the Midwest District.
Province, yes.
Yeah, province. No, district.
Oh, is
Remember?
it?
Mm-hmm. That's district.
Yeah, the rest of the church calls them provinces. We call them districts.
Because they're special.
We have to be special. We
They're
have to
special.
be unique.
Yeah.
So it's like the Hunger Games.
Exactly right. And he survived.
It can be.
He's a season 4 winner. So congratulations on that. I don't know who you had to kill to get there, but you're a school principal also at the Blackfeet Reservation in Northwest Montana.
That's right.
So it sounds very interesting, and we're going to do a show specifically about that and your experience there. Our next episode with you. But we want to focus, also, I just want to let people know that here at the Catholic Cafe, it's very important for us to have a beautifully landscaped lawn, outside. So if we hear someone going by with a leaf blower, we're going to be okay with that.
Yes.
Right? Just so we know that, we're like everybody else, and we have people that are doing a good job making us look good.
Well, they're taking their lawn power tools and they're building a statue of Tom.
His
in honor
hair.
of him and his hair.
Yeah, they're working on his hair right now.
Yes.
That's going to be, so we may have a moment of silence later when they unveil that. But so we're here with Brother Dylan, and you've told us like this our last episode. So if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to our last episode, which is your vocation story. Which things I love about it is you talk about things like in terms of like little baby steps, little things that didn't seem like you were moving in a specific direction. You were just moving in a direction that maybe you didn't know, and it was becoming like more and more like little openings, little doors, little opportunities that basically where you were kind of following, I guess, what God is calling you to do. And these baby steps kind of led you to be a Christian brother, which is awesome. But it wasn't like that you there was a bolt of lightning and you weren't addicted to crack cocaine.
Right.
There's a lot of stories that out there that people have.
Yes,
but I think it's important that we recognize that not every story is going to be a fantastical story, but it's a fantastic story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no major revelations, no moments of turning over a new leaf.
You didn't hear a voice from the heavens saying, "Dylan, in whom I am well pleased." Listen to him.
That's right. And I think that's what's really important. I would like for people to hear that listening to the Holy Spirit has as much to do with the listening as it does to the speaking. Yes. when we predispose ourselves to the listening, and you build a personal relationship with God, then you start to know how God speaks to you. And God speaks to me in silence and in what I sometimes refer to as brief moments of clarity. So when I did decide, I had been discerning, and one day I just called the closest to this moment is I had called my vocation director, Brother Stephen, and said, "Let's get this started. I got to move on this, or I'm gonna change my mind."
Right. You had a moment of clarity,
right?
And you
and
realized that was going to be foggy real soon.
Exactly. So I called and said, "How can we begin my postulancy? Let's figure out how to make this work." Because I knew that's what I wanted. I knew that's where I was being called, and I also knew how easily we can talk ourselves out of the things that are right for us.
Now, did you ever? I guess, did the devil ever attack specifically in this vocational call for you? Did you ever feel like all these opportunities, were flashing before your eyes now, and as reasons why you should not choose door number 1, you should go for 2 or 3?
Yeah. Let me see. I can't think of a specific story, but definitely there's challenges and temptations all the time, all along the way. I think still, for me, that's maybe that's another important part too, is knowing how the evil and negative kinds of things speak to you. So they speak to me in not being good enough. So when I try something, when I'm sent to to lead, like as I have been asked to, as part of vow of obedience, asked to organize an international group of young brothers in Rome, and have to moderate these big, complicated conversations. Or when I've been asked to, like I am now, to be principal, I think I'm not qualified for this. I'm not good enough. I'm not. And so we draw a lot of.
I think the devil uses insecurity sometimes.
Definitely.
And he doesn't scream and like, I'm the devil and I don't want you to do this.
Exactly.
Instead, he wants you to doubt yourself.
Right. And then it can spiral so quickly. You're not good enough for this. Why do you think you're good enough to be a brother and to be this example to other people? And it's I think this idea that we need to be perfect, to be as we are, as you guys are with this show,
far from it.
but in a public face of these kinds of things. We don't need to be perfect to do that. We just need to be ourselves. And I think trusting God that we're in the right place, that that God gives us what we need to say, how we need to be with people. As long as we don't close ourselves off to that.
Yeah. I do tell people a lot. I know I've preached about it several times where all of a sudden I think the Holy Spirit says, tell them this. Mm-hmm. And that is that God loves you right now. Mm-hmm. He doesn't love the future you. Mm-hmm. I mean, he will. But really, he doesn't want you to be perfect before he will love you. And that's the thing. And we are so hard on ourselves.
We are.
Right? And so if we realize that we are loved in our brokenness, and we're loved in our inability to please him, right?
Yeah.
All these things that we're never going to be worthy, right, of that.
Right.
And so if we understand that, it takes a lot of pressure off.
And that's why I draw so much inspiration from the prophets. I think if we, because I have to do one, God qualifies the called,
right,
rather than calling the qualified,
right,
and that they do hard stuff and no one listens to them. And as a school principal, I feel that way a lot. Yeah. No one's happy with what you do. No one listens, and you can get real. You can throw a pity party real quick about those kinds of things, or you can say, you know what? I'm just going to keep loving, keep doing, and look at the people who are supporting you, and keep moving forward.
So, how long have you been a brother?
Let's see. I am now.
He's counting on his fingers.
Let's see, right? 5 years in temporary vows. So my novitiate was in 2018, I think.
All right.
And or ended in 2018. So I took the habit in 2017, but I've been using the title 2 years before that. So in postulancy, we begin to call ourselves brother, or to be called brother. So I guess 7 or 8 years, depending on how you calculate.
And so what's next in that process?
Currently discerning perpetual vows, we call them. And God willing, that will looking like that'll happen this summer.
Wow.
So
that's with the Catholic Cafe. Will you praying?
Thank you
for you. That's incredible. That's great.
And people out in Radio Land, please pray for Brother Dylan's vocation, because I've heard many religious and priests say that if it weren't for the prayers of the faithful, they wouldn't be able to live their vocation. So if any of you are looking to spiritually adopt people, you can also pray for the Catholic Cafe.
Yeah,
but Brother Dylan, he's giving his life to the church. Please add him to your list.
Definitely.
Brother Dylan Perry.
Yeah, that's just along with what we were talking about in terms of your own vocation and thinking you're not worthy. It's also a terrible strife on the world to think that your prayers don't matter, because they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Right. And that's what the devil doesn't want you to believe, that those prayers matter. So if you want all the demons to flee and you want the good things to happen, just pray for them.
And I've had personal experiences too, where I've asked, I've just, it's been on my heart, hey, ask that person to pray for this particular thing that's happening in your life. And it's not because, that person is just sort of the saint of the town or something like that, ordinary everyday Catholic, but you just feel a nudge, hey, will you please add me to your rosary list? And things happen, because God does listen to our prayers, and our brother Dylan needs prayers,
you go.
Because this is a big decision he's making with his life.
And I think that even for me, our religious experience has so much to do with relationship.
Yeah.
It's about community. We can't do this on our own. So even the vulnerability required to ask someone for prayers is gives you the humility. Now I say, especially as an educator, that's the prayer, everyone, that will be answered the fastest of any prayer. If you ask for humility, you will certainly be provided with opportunities to
be careful what you ask for, they always say, right?
But definitely being able to lower yourself to talk about your needs to other people and with God is so important.
And frequently we all say the same thing to ourselves, that I'm the most humble guy in the room.
And proud of it.
And proud of it.
I too am extraordinarily humble.
Humility is definitely a challenge for so many in the world, me included. And wow. So the people that are closest to me will know, because I talk about it all the time, about there's some things I don't like about what I do, but at the same time, there's in that humility, it's where God calls you. As you were saying earlier, Brother Dylan, that out of obedience, your superiors will say, Brother Dylan, we want you to do this. And you wouldn't have normally said, hey, let me lead this. Let me run this. Let me stand up in front of everybody and say these things, because I really feel that God has gifted me in that way. That's not where it comes from, right?
And that's why I'm extraordinarily proud of to be a part of the work that our institute does. We have a charism of a history, a 300-year history of educating the poor, of working, for starting in Reims, France, noticing needs. I think is what I would say our charism is. Noticing and meeting the needs of those who find themselves on the margins. And that started by seeing that some children in France were not getting the education that they needed to be able to have this kind of relationship with God that we're talking about. So, you need to be able to read and write.
Did you see that? Is that what attracted you to the Christian Brothers? I mean, because you seem to be very tuned into that, and that's a historical thing, but it's still going on today.
It is. I think that movement, that feeling, the charism of our order and how it aligns with my own personal charism of relationship, of education, definitely is what attracted me. And I tried to do my due diligence and my own discernment to look at other orders. Yeah,
were there other orders that you considered?
Certainly, I'm very, very interested, very connected to the life of St. Francis and the history of that order. And that, Francis also being a brother, I think there's something about brothers in the church that I find very attractive, very interesting. There's a humility, as we talk about. There's sort of an unknownness, but also the relational. The fact that we choose a word that's inherently reciprocal in relationship. That is, if I call you, if you call me brother, then you're already saying, if I ask you to call me brother, we're already saying that we are brothers.
Yeah.
Whereas other titles, even in the church, have more hierarchical or leadership implied by nature, which is important. But with brothers, it's a flat relationship with each other, with who we minister with and to. So that's always very compelling for me. I think because of that, we recently put out calls, continuing to go back to our founding principles, to our charism, to go further, to go to the margins, how we're referring to it now. So not just thinking about poverty, spiritual poverty, things like that, but we're thinking who is in need in our world today. And that leads us, especially, it's exciting to be a part of a group that's so broad-reaching internationally. Then I can see myself, or at least talk to people when I've had the opportunity to go to several meetings in Rome, and I talk to brothers that are running schools in schools in South Sudan, or helping to start universities in Ethiopia. We run a school in a university in Bethlehem in Palestine. So we can't think of many places that are more marginalized than this, than a lot of those.
And we
places.
don't hear a lot. This is interesting to me because you're in so many places and you're doing so much, and we don't hear a lot about that. And I think maybe that's a good thing because it's like it shows that you've become like you've woven yourselves into those communities.
Yeah, definitely. There's something about just being with the people in the places that we work. I think in certain circles you might hear more about some of that work, but you're right. It's not even all that known about the Catholic presence in some of these places. But
there's also not like the Christian Brothers Hall of Fame where we're striving to be noted and recognized. And here's our list of accomplishments.
That's
you
right.
don't see that, but what you do see are people who are on the margins who feel like they're loved. And that I know, and we'll talk more about this in the next episode. But the De La Salle Christian Brothers, really specialize. Charism. Their charism is really to be like in and with the people, especially the people that need it the most.
That's right. And to make, I think, in some ways, hospitality is an important part of our charism. We make people feel welcomed. It's important to us, like even in big and small ways. Here, a brother that was of great influence to me growing up, I think, the face of the Catholic Church in Memphis, Brother Joel McGraw.
Oh yeah.
And
a living saint.
That's right. And he, he's not. If he's listening to this, I think he'll readily admit he's a good teacher, not the best teacher. He's not. He's a good brother. He's good at a lot of things, but what he does is care and listen and pay attention.
A lot of people don't realize this. He has a prayer book that he uses every day. And I've seen this prayer book. My mother's name is in that prayer book. Now, she's passed, and there wasn't a day that went when I see him where he wouldn't go like, "How's your mother?" Right? And how's anything that I ever asked him to pray for. He's one of these people that just, and he literally does that. And I know he does that because he asks about them, and he knows more people in Memphis. And I would imagine that when the Lord determines that his time on earth is done, that prayer book will become some kind of holy relic.
And that's those are the brothers that inspire me and make me proud to be a part of the order, as well as we have martyrs. We have a brother from Wisconsin who was martyred in Guatemala, whose cause for canonization is he was beatified. And those brothers are certainly inspiring, and to hold up those stories. But I currently live with a brother who lived with that brother, and so it's always complicated. But it's exciting to hear about those experiences and that the daily fidelity, I think, to people and to each other.
But I always go back to what I really love hearing about is that sort of quiet victory. The one where it's like to hear, like it's good to know that this is going on and it's not got a lot of focus on it. It's just doing life.
Yeah, and what's remarkable is, it's hard, and you can say, like we were talking about before, I want to be like that. But just recognizing what your gifts are and how to live that well, I think is what everyone's called to do.
I would imagine, though, you mentioned the last episode, a priest that was influential to you, Father Cantner, out of Memphis, and he probably was wanting you to be a priest, or he thought that was the first thing he was asking about. There had to be a time in your life where you were considering priesthood. I mean, was there a tipping point where you decided, like, I don't think it's priesthood, I really think it's this?
And just to be clear, there are no priests in the Christian Brothers
That's right.
order.
Yeah. Our founder was a priest, and he's the only member who's ever been actually in the order. There was a brother who was sent to Rome to train to be a priest, and died on the way. And
that's a sign,
right? Exactly. Well, we are. Our order is so into to divine providence that that was read as a sign.
Okay, no priest. We're not doing the priest thing.
And so we are the first all-male non-clerical order in the church. So the first order of just brothers. And that's part of my, what interested me in that. Because then there's no hierarchy, no. I think that that form of vocation is so pure in a way, but especially for an educator, that I often say, to try to explain it, that we're not encumbered by sacramental ministry. And so while that is a remarkable gift to the church and to be a part of, it shifts your priorities.
It gives you, it allows you a certain amount of freedom to focus on the things that need to be focused on for your community.
The entire so I think incarnation is an important part of how we look at things, and the entire incarnational aspect of our existence is seeing Christ in people, and so certainly we find the sacraments are important to us, but it's not what we do, because we focus on seeing Christ in our students.
Or you don't perform the sacramental ministry, but you're there in the pew receiving the sacramental ministry along with those that you were serving.
True.
Which is sort of a different experience than a lot of religious.
And their ministry itself is sacramental in nature.
Or a sacrament of presence to others.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think you're right. The presence at the presence we're able to have at church as part of our parish and those kinds of things provide a different witness, and so a witness that is again still with the people rather than somehow separate. So I think I certainly did consider priesthood, and I'm very. It's a remarkable vocation.
Well, there's still time. You haven't made that your perpetual vows yet, so you got a couple of months if you want to.
That's right.
Consider it. But I'm teasing you there because it sounds like you're right at home, or at least you feel that way.
So.
Right? There's a certain amount of peace that radiates from you, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, I think. So you're part of a lot of people don't realize just how big, I want to say big, not necessarily in numbers, but maybe it is in numbers, but really in terms of like where you are in the world.
Yeah.
The De La Salle Christian Brothers are all over the place. You mentioned, was it 80 countries?
We're in 80 countries, and I think currently a little over, somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 brothers.
And does this... How does like communication work in something like that? I mean, there's got to be. I mean,
goodness, a lot easier than it used to be.
Well, I imagine,
but it's so to balance that sort of the hierarchical and the with the local is really interesting. And so I've been a part of meetings where we're talking in 3 or 4 different languages about certain kinds of issues, and you have to be very broad when you're speaking about how should we handle including lay people in our ministry, which we're very good at and have been for a very long time, and how we share our charism and how we talk about our spirituality. But then you're talking about that with people who are ministering in predominantly Muslim countries or in countries with very strong cultural Catholic presence, like in South America. And balancing some of those realities, and even for us, then knowing the difference between educational law and the different, most other countries pay for religious education.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about raising money, which I'd love to talk about.
I'll tell you, you probably need support.
We would love some support. Now, we're very blessed to get support from the American Indian Catholic Schools Network, and from a number from the Black and Indian Missions, a number of Catholic charities, Catholic Extension, a number of wonderful programs in the United States that support the kind of work that we do on the Blackfeet Reservation, and in a number of other places around the country.
If someone's interested, how do they go about trying to find out more, and if they wanted to?
Thank you. Yes, I would say our website is dlsbs.org. It's De La Salle Blackfeet School.
Okay.
It would be easy to find through a number of other places that we've been talking about. brothersvocation.org.
Yeah, so anyone who's interested in just pursuing more about the vocational aspect, brothersvocation, all one word, .org. You'll find all the information there you need to start a discernment process and then get in touch with someone.
Yes, please. And there's a number of great vocation resources in general. Certainly as educators, as catechists, primarily our resources are interested in helping people helping people be their best selves. So there would be great, as well as the American Indian Catholic Schools Network, Christian Brothers in the Midwest, all the networks that we're a part of.
And if someone wants to support your school specifically, which we're going to talk in our next episode, just Google Blackfeet School, and it's the first thing that comes up, and you can find them. You guys have a donate button on your website, right?
Yes.
And maybe a donut button, too.
Yeah, we have the donut button. And I would imagine that's it's not really always on the top of everyone's giving list because they don't even know about what you're doing. I'm hoping that people will tune into this next episode to find out more specifically about what's going on the Blackfeet Reservation and where the Christian Brothers are helping there, especially with this school. We'll talk about that. But really just where we're called, we're all called to something, right? And if you're not called to be a Christian brother, if you're not called to be married, you're called to something. And God also, maybe not necessarily in a vocational way, is calling everyone to action, everyone to be part of what you're doing. And I love the fact that what you seem to understand or what you, I guess, relish about this order is the idea that you're not there making a bunch of little Catholics. Well, God be praised if people become Catholic as a result of what you're doing.
Right.
But the reality is you're there to love people.
That's right.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful vocation. So, Brother Dylan Perry, thank you for joining us again. And we're going to ask the Blessed Virgin Mary to intercede on behalf in all of that we've talked about. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Thanks for listening to The Catholic Cafe. If you'd like to contact Deacon Jeff, send him an email at deaconjeff@thecatholiccafe.com. Visit us on the web at thecatholiccafe.com. You can also find us on iTunes or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The Catholic Cafe is brought to you by the Order of Malta Federal Association. Join us again at the Catholic Cafe, serving up salvation one cup of coffee at a time.